How We Make Movies is brought to you by Microsoft Surface, Assimilate, Azo, and hosted by the film collective WeMakeMovies.org.
Now, this is another question that a lot of indie, producers probably is that most indie films have much lower budgets than studio films, which means lower pay for actors. Are some actors willing to work for less pay, and why? What's the payoff for them?
I think that, there's always a trade-off. So we sort of like to say, you either have amazing material or you have a lot of money. Both can get your film made.
Amazing when you have both.
Yeah, sure. It would be great if you had amazing material with a lot of money, but somehow the two don't often or always come hand in hand. And I think that that is the trade-off. If you have an incredible script and you have a role that an actor needs to play, or hasn't been given an opportunity to play somewhere else, that's when somebody will take a hit on the upfront money. They might not take a hit across the board. so hear this carefully when you're planning your budgets. We'll take a little bit of a hit on the upfront to be able to have that opportunity. In some cases, it's the same like for production. You'll have someone who's a step below, like an assistant art director. They'll take a hit on their fee to be an art director on a movie to get that credit. And it works the same way with actors. Sometimes it's to be able to work with a certain director, to be able to work with a certain producer, but oftentimes it's to be able to do a certain type of role that they're not being given another opportunity to do. And I think that's a sort of situation where people will do that. And that's why tons of people are doing indie films, because there are all these incredible roles that sometimes the studios they're not able to make those films, and independent filmmakers can make them, and that's a great thing.
Now you said willing to take a hit on the upfront. Is that alluding to maybe that they might make more money later on, or that there's some other kind of payoff?
I mean, there are so many different ways to sort of negotiate a contract. There's always back-end points. Depending on the film, those aren't always seen. Sometimes you can do a producer credit or a producer fee. It all depends on, I'm not a producer, I'm not a line producer, I haven't budgeted a film. But it depends. You can get with the budgeting of a film in order to keep your cast budget down initially, which is why some people, it can answer the question of working for less money. But I think most often it really does come down to the material and the role and what they're being given the opportunity to do. But nobody likes to work for free.
Of course.
So there has to be a trade-off in some capacity. It doesn't always have to be a check. So for example, Charlize Theron in Monster, Halle Berry, Monsters Ball, being given the opportunity to really dive into a role that they had not been given the opportunity to do before. Nicole Kidman in The Hours. These all happen to be Oscar-winning roles, but
never mind that.
But I don't know that they knew that going into it. So certainly there's a trade-off with the material, and I think that's why people get excited about independent cinema.